Oh man, it is wonderful, wonderful, man. I am so happy today. I'm looking forward to today.
Yeah, this is going to be a good one. Talking about Allendale and the music history of not only Allendale but the area, Shreveport, and check this out. Look at this.
Oh,
It sits in my garden by my front door. This is a piece of Allendale. They're everywhere. and my friend Poetic X gave that to me. He collects them and distributes them to friends. And today's guest is uncle of Poetic X. And I'm excited to get into it with him about music.
all right.
So,
Hey, well, today we have Mr. James Thomas. Welcome, Mr. James Thomas, to the Allendale Strong podcast.
I appreciate it. Thank you. You relented.
Yeah, good to
you
see you,
called
James.
me. Say what, John?
Good to see you. I didn't realize
Good
you
to see
and Hugh, Poetic X,
Oh,
were related, but I should have known. You're both artists.
yeah.
And-
Let me
and
tell you.
His words are amazing when you get him going, man. It's just amazing. And so, yeah, welcome to the show.
Yes, Poetic X. I didn't think I could ever live to see anybody's deeper in the Allendale culture than I am. I mean, literally. When I am Poetic X, is it X's? I am his great uncle.
Ah,
I held his mother in my arms as a child. You know, I was a real uncle, man. His mother done crossed me to this day. And push come to shove, neither does my nephew, Hugh, Poetic X. As a child, sometimes I had to discipline them. Okay, not a whole lot. But I also gave back what they gave me. This is a true story. And the little kids or the young ones in my life, I just have a say, what you should be, oh, you should be a doctor. You should be a writer. I'm still thinking about you. But I always told Poetic X, and he'll tell you from the day he was born, I said, we call him man also. Man, you should be a philosopher. I said, that's good. Age 3, you should be a philosopher, man. 7, you should be a philosopher, man. I just, you mean, sometimes the theology of the church is so, I use the word generic so much. Words mean this, words mean, and we have taken it out of context. There has been some crazy stuff to come out of it. But words can matter. He became a philosopher. He became a great poet. I just kind of saw it and put it in him. Musically speaking, listen to me carefully. I am indigenous Allendale. I am Hugh's Poetic X's father, Poetic X's grandfather, okay? X's grandfather is my oldest brother.
wow.
X's grandfather is anywhere between 20 and 25 years older than I am. Okay? Now dig this. Check this out. You say I can be esoteric. I appreciate that. Poetic X, his grandfather was billed as probably the greatest dancer Shreveport, Allendale has ever known. They call him Slick. Slick could move like Will Rogers. Slick could move like the guy who danced with Shirley Temple. Slick was blues incarnate in his every moment.
Wow.
I grew up watching Slick move. One day, when I was sent to the store, check this out. In order for the little piano player at the church to go to the store for his mommy, I had to pass by Club 66. You hear me?
Is that in Allendale?
This is Allendale. It's where the Cannon Towers stand right now. Go get all those intellectuals and find out about Club 66. I think they got some of the material at Southern University. I think Dr. Willie Bird may have it archived somewhere.
Okay.
Club 66. Young man, Mr. Brian, go talk to your grandparents about Club 66. It's the same place where the Canaan Towers are standing today. That used to be Club 66, where James Brown played, Wilson Pickett played, Tina Turner played. Everybody had to play there, okay? I mean, it was like jamming. It was like Allendale was like the Apollo. James Brown, my brother spoke to James Brown. And my brother came home one day to me, and Slick said to me, and he was 25 years old, so he never called me James. He always called me son. He said, son, let me tell you something. He said, I spoke to James Brown. And James Brown told me that he would never stop no matter what. He would never stop. Have you seen the movie that Mick Jagger produced about James Brown? What is the pronounced statement? I will never stop. That was spoken in Allendale. His character was released in Allendale. My brother gave me, so I'm getting all of his energy musically. Come on. You know, I'm picking up kinetic energy. It can be contagious if you let it be. My brother was there. I'm back to my story. Thank you for letting me be me. I'm headed to the store for my mom's, right? Mom, you okay? I go to the store for you. It's all good. But I get by Club 66 and I look through the door. As I look through the door, I'm peeping through the door. What do I see in Club 66? My brother dancing and my sister dancing, which was probably like 25 or 30 years older than me, totally lit up. And guess who was the bouncer at Club 66?
Who?
My aunt. I don't know if I can pronounce her name and not get in legal problems. Aunt was the bouncer there and the cook there. So on my way back, sometimes she would let me in and feed me. She did everything to feed me. But that vibe got in me, man. On my way to church. What are you saying? I'm saying there was so much music there, you can't put into words. But I didn't just jam and do that. Juanita Pearson taught me to read. I got a full scholarship because I was able to read Beethoven. This I'm talking about Shreveport. I'm talking about Allendale. Now follow me. Brother Bryant, when I get too far out and it not make sense, just say, James, make that sense. How did I get a scholarship at the Bible school? And when my first mission, or attained my first mission trips to India. Why? Because I was playing gospel music. They said, okay, he plays gospel. Then my teacher gave me a piece by Beethoven. I was going through the piece by Beethoven. But Beethoven gets to a place in his music. I keep forgetting to go look up that musical term again. All you music people out there, I think it was that place where you get to the SPF, where you kind of join different rhythms together. So I'm from Allendale. I'm like straight up from Allendale in Bible college. I just found the Lord. So I'm playing the piece melodically, da 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 da, and I get that piece. I go, ba. The teacher stopped. She said, "Do it again." I went, da 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 ba da 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 ba. She said, "Do it again." Da 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 ba. Do it again. Da 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 ba. What did I do? I took what I learned from the classics, from the hymn book. We had to play anthems at Mount Canaan every Sunday, and the funk on the street. And I combined them. The next day, this little kid from Allendale, the next day, the president of the Bible college came to me and said, James, I want you to move in that dormitory. All expenses are paid. Allendale did that for me, man. Allendale did that for me. Missionary to India, 1979, I think.
Oh, wow.
Allendale did that for me. Do you hear me?
Oh, yeah.
That's why I'm passionate. I'm a product of what it can do for you musically. Now, it's not always sitting down telling everybody what to do like they did for me. Some of it is caught. I caught the jams from the lyrics. In order to get to school, get to the church, I had to pass by all these teenagers in the street playing the Four Tops, playing Diana Ross. I heard all of that. And then I get by the bar, I hear the blues coming out of the jukebox. Go look up the term Juke, jukebox. Okay, man, you haven't heard the music, bro, until you really heard it come up out of a jukebox.
Oh, yeah.
And
oh, yeah.
girlfriend, she ran, it was the head cook. at the bar. It was another bar down the street that never had a name, but you be juking up in there, and the music got into me. Is when I got to church, I had to play gospel, and you better put something in it, or just a little bit of something, not too much amount in those days. And I had to read the anthems by being on the streets, incubated in Allendale, and I can read. Are you serious? I learned to read, man.
Now, who taught you how? You say who taught you how to read?
Little guy by the name of John Arthur Flannel. He lived. Do you know where the Friendship House is? He lived on. Is that Clay Street?
Clay Street, yeah.
He lived right next door to what's the big store restaurant now? Where
Oh yeah,
Driveway
yeah.
Where the Friendship Driveway is?
That's the Us Up North Cafe now, right there.
North Cafe. His house was adjacent to that. Now it is the Friendship House's driveway. We were coming to church one day. John A. Flannel was a straight A student, man. He lived in a shotgun house. Okay. He used to, I'm getting to my point, because we're talking about Allendale. You say, okay, I'm getting to my point. Give me a moment. But as a child, he would critique sermons at church. And he would come to church and he said, this guy, what he's doing up there preaching for, he's so opportunistic. We would say, what is opportunistic? And he would use sometimes exclamation. He'd say, listen to the word. What does opportune mean? And then we got to it. And then he would get deep, man. He would say, Christianity without St. Augustine? Constantinople? I'm talking 12, man, at least 11. And he's talking about the history of Christianity. And he's maybe 13 or 14 himself. And he said, one day, expletive, all of you need to get out there and stop acting a fool. And you need to learn to read. I don't know where he got the money from, but he gave us money on he gave us materials on how to speed read. I'm gonna drop another name. Eddie Turner was there. Eddie was one of the students. Eddie Turner's a graduate of Southern, but he's one of the most brilliant men I've ever known, because they dropped the seed in us to read. They dropped, and another thing too. I don't know what they taught the engineers. I don't know what they taught the doctors and the scientists. I don't know what they taught. But when they came to the artists, they never mentioned race. They never mentioned that the white man was your enemy. I never heard that. What they taught us was to cultivate your mind, cultivate your gift, and stay in your lane and never be prejudiced. Don't you ever come in my presence saying you don't like country music, telling me you don't want to hear Frank Sinatra. That was like taboo. You had to listen to everything and appreciate everybody. And to this day, I just had a piano student. What do I teach them? The young kid is studying Mozart. Then I sent her something on James Brown. And my God, Sammy had some issues off the camera, but on that stage, Sammy was on it. I sent things by Sammy Davis Jr. In spite of his eccentricities that we could relate to, he poured some money into the civil rights movement. He did.
Yeah, I mean, you look back at his performance at the Apollo. I know you remember this. His performance at the Apollo, I Gotta Be Me.
Yes.
By who you just said his name.
Yeah.
Sammy Davis Jr. They gave him a round of applause because he just told
I remember seeing that. I saw it released recently. Dude on the stage. So I'm waking up in the morning, at 7 o'clock, rather in the evening, Ed Sullivan. So I got all this going on.
There we go.
Okay.
We lost you.
Well, we
James.
had to do, I'm sorry, Helen Rush used to do gospel blues, but we used to do anthems. I mean, huge music. One day, we were doing some great music, and they put some intricate. Let me tell you something. How I can, it's only I can call around the world. It's only a handful of people who have ever seen a gospel piece written in on notation. Most time it's played by ear. You just play it. I have seen it written, and I guarantee you I could take it anywhere in the world. And the greatest musicians in the world will have to take at least some time out to figure those kind of intricacies out. She could read it. And then you could give her some classical music. She could jam, but she could read like a machine.
Mm-hmm.
That's the kind of environment I came out of. One day, we never told our parents anything. One day she said to her children, my children, she said, get in the car. Yes, ma'am. I got in the car with her, and she took us to the Civic Center downtown. I don't know if they still call it that now. They call it something. That's where the opera is held at, John, now.
Yeah, that's the Riverview Theater now.
The Riverview Theater. Back in the day, we
Yeah.
called it the Civic Theater or something.
Yeah.
I don't care what color my skin was. She said, you get in there, and here we go. And guess where she took us? She took us to see a young black, I think he was still in high school. His name was Larry Wade. He was a classical musician. To this day, Larry Wade's presence and her telling me to get in that car haunts me because it changed my future. I'm extremely comfortable with classical music. I'm extremely comfortable with funk. I'm extremely comfortable with gospel. Contemporary gospel is the one that I had to really work on. I can play it, but I can't play it in my heart like these young cats do. When it comes to contemporary gospel, you got some brothers in this city who are masters. I want to call their name because if I call one of them name, I'm not going to call the rest of them.
All right.
But you got masters here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Now, tell me a little bit. You went to Nashville for a little while. Tell me about that.
Well, my deal for Nashville, see, I was a campus minister and pastor at New Rocky Valley in Grambling, 6 years as pastor and 13 years as campus minister. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
So I went there out of a ministerial call, but the pastor who invited me knew my musical background. So when I get there, I'm pursuing ministry, but the part of the church's music responsibility was mine. So I frequented the music schools, and I hung out with them there. I heard some great music there. I did. I heard some great musicians there. I did. I really did. But when push comes to shove, nobody with my background of being exposed, not me, but the people to whom I'm being exposed to, are absolutely untouchable. See, the deal is different with my generation and the generation now. They can jam, and I love to hear them jam. They jam. I can't jam like they can jam. But reading is not a premium, man.
Mm-hmm.
Back in the day, if you didn't read, are you serious? Have you ever heard of Booker T. Washington High School? Have you ever heard of Dr. Ernest Lampkins?
Mm-hmm.
Go find out about Dr. Ernest Lampkins. Why? Because I got to go back to Allendale to get back to Nashville, okay?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
See, in Allendale, Booker T. Washington is, I don't know, 5 miles away.
Yeah.
We heard the bands, we heard the trombones, we heard the drums, we heard the wood sections, we heard brass. Where I live on Marsh Street, coming from Booker T every day, because they were really blowing that hard.
Mm-hmm.
Do you feel what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
All this energy is coming in Allendale. Allendale is like a conduit. It's like a portal. It's a portal, man. I don't think you can really hear me.
Yeah.
And not only that, it's a school called J.S. Clark.
Yeah.
My play sister, I don't know, I'm gonna drop her name, Kathy, played in that band. It's 3 or 4, 5, I don't know how many miles it is from the Canaan Towers, all right?
Mm-hmm.
We would hear 13, 14, and 15-year-olds playing, practicing like they were standing outside. That got inside of us. See, you can't teach it all. That's why Vienna is so important to Mozart, friend. because they drink the music. That's why Pavarotti is one of the greatest singers in the world, because in his community, they drink the music. It's not just what you teach at the board. As an Allendale musician, as an Allendale artist, as an Allendale philosopher, it comes in the air. It's in the ground. It's when your grandmother speaks. It's how Slick walks. It's a vibe, man. It's a world. It's an atmosphere.
Mm-hmm.
That's what's blowing. That's why I appreciate you guys doing what you do. Because all I do, I'm just a victim of its purpose. There is no way I could have marched myself into this life on my own. Number one. Another thing, that please interrupt me. One of the reasons why I excelled and got a modicum amount of popularity is because I had to play a real Billy Preston. I didn't play like Billy Preston now. I wish I could. Go look up Billy Preston, young people. But John knew what I'm talking about. He's the fifth Beatle. Dude could like jam. I mean, he's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
But my music teacher taught me to read. And Mrs. Pearl Huckabee, she wrote my piece. She wrote it out of her head. Down, all of that's the glass, what's it? Glass, I can't think of it. But when you slide all the way up to the top, she put all of it on paper. No one would, they just thought I was James playing. She wrote it for me. So you talking about people who can write funk? How often do you see people writing gospel? I come in an environment where they could write classical music, but they could write gospel music. She wrote an organ solo for me, Amazing Grace. And this is a true story. There are two people. One is like 5 years my senior, and my sister is 2 years my senior. And they said, James, what I really want you to do is go and play Amazing Grace after all these years. Because what my music teacher wrote for me. I didn't just wake up one morning, they wrote it for me. Yeah, I hope that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Plus, that has to do with Nashville. So when I go to Nashville, singing is great. That's wonderful. But we need far more. We need far more than that. You can feel it. They can feel it too. I'm not knocking them. But that's pretty much was my experience there. You know, our father, young family, and I'm really doing ministry. And I did get exposed to a lot, but where I'm from, you know, it's very hard to be overwhelmed.
Mm-hmm.
And what I did learn, they got the business side of this thing. They understand those royalties. They can get you paid. Now I get that.
Now let's get into that a little bit, because me and John always talk about this, and I always I listen to a couple of other video podcasts that discuss this, that the artists in the Shreveport area, and there's a lot of them. There's a lot of good artists. I may not be a fan of all of their music, but I respect the artistry. And I say all of that to say that me and John talk about the history of music here, from Lead Belly to Elvis Presley playing here.
Hank Williams.
Hank Williams.
Hank Williams lived here for a while.
Johnny Harden.
Yeah.
Yep.
Van Cliburn. Are you serious? Van Cliburn?
Yeah.
Right. That's amazing. Yeah.
So,
what a area this is.
So let's get into the business side. Like what did you see in Nashville that made you say, man, if only Shreveport could bring that back? Or if I can put it in a bottle and ship it back to Shreveport, boom.
You know, my wrestle with that is going to be very simplistic. Nashville wants it.
Mm-hmm.
They want it. They want the commercial. They really want it.
Mm-hmm.
Our want to. I don't know about our want to. I don't know how to describe it. I don't know how to birth it. But the want to in the business community and the arts here, it doesn't have any fire. Now I know you can't put that on bottom line stuff, but the want to issue with me. I don't sense a want to. In particular, I've heard some people with unbelievable business ideas, but the business community would not embrace it. You think Elvis still has an Allen. When he was going, he still was eating Allendale, eggs, bacon. He ate the same thing. You think he would have left if they had to pay him, and he could have got that mansion that he has in Memphis that they paid him? He had a plane so he can go to Hollywood and come home. He wanted some comfort. Memphis gave it to him.
Mm-hmm.
Right down the street from Nashville. Nashville gave it to him, and he ended up moving to Memphis. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
We got started.
Mm-hmm. And John always brings up and you brought up country music too. The showcase what was the showcase name, John?
Grand Ole Opry. Which one?
Oh no, that was in Nashville, but we had our own version of it.
Louisiana
right here.
Hayride.
Yeah, here at the Municipal Auditorium, and I've been in there working on movie projects, setting up equipment and stuff, and had people just wander in and say, "Wow, this is where it all happened." And they were country music fans their whole lives, and they. I think we do tours now, but we didn't back then. So I would say, well, let me take a break. I'll show you around real fast, and I could show them backstage where Elvis's dressing room was and all the top stars. You know, Johnny Horton, all those guys were hanging out there, fair and young, and these were all, you know, that's not my main music, but I respect it and love it a great deal. I had a friend who grew up here. We went to church together and church camps in the summer, and he played guitar and was a songwriter. He went to Nashville, and he followed Kix Brooks, who also went to the same church we did and was part of the sort of a movement of songwriters from here to Nashville because of the Americana and country music. He said everybody played some instrument in Nashville because they all gathered there. I think where we're missing out is that we're not, you know, if you ask somebody here who's Leadbelly, a lot of people can't tell you. I didn't realize it when I grew up watching a rock and roll show called The Midnight Special. And I thought that was about the show ended at midnight and I was staying up late watching rock and roll. But The Midnight Special was written by Leadbelly. And you know, a lot of his history is still here. His birthplace and his burial place. And I see white guys go up there on the anniversary of his death and play his songs around his graveyard. I just think we're missing the boat. We could be creating, you know, I've looked it up. They have festivals for Leadbelly in Europe. They have festivals for Leadbelly in New York, but we don't have one here in Shreveport. And it seems like something our business community and our tourism industry could do here, you know, that we could pull off a Leadbelly festival and have blues musicians come from all over and fans come from all over and celebrate that good music and do tours. You can still go see where Leadbelly is at rest now, and you can still go see where the Blue Goose, where Leadbelly would hop off the train right there in the Crosstown neighborhood, which the highway basically ran through, but it didn't run through the Blue Goose. Is still standing where he would hop off the train and play and entertain professionally. And likewise, not far from there is where all the country music came for the Louisiana Hayride, and it battled with Nashville, and we could have been a Nashville. They all knew their way to Shreveport, and there's amazing number of people. There's still Horton's descendants living here in Shreveport, but we don't take advantage of the opportunity to celebrate what we do best here in Shreveport. What if we did? You know, what would that be like to honor our musicians that had to leave, you know, to make a career, including Kix Brooks, one of the biggest country stars, Brooks and Dunn of my generation in country music. What would that be like to have more music here? It seems like that could really help us in ways that our other tourism industry, hunting and fishing, doesn't really, you can do that anywhere, but there's only one place to get that good down home Shreveport music, and that's Shreveport, if you ask me.
Okay, yeah, I really believe that the entrepreneurial spirit needs to be cultivated in Shreveport. And the reason I say that is because a lot of times the powers that be like to stay in their lane, right? If I made $1 million picking up trash, I'm gonna stay in trash, right? Until I'm forced out. We look at oil in Louisiana, right? Everybody fights for oil, even though oil right now, if you look at anybody that's in the stock market, they're saying oil is dead.
Yeah.
Right. And I believe that it's the same thing with Shreveport, is that the powers that be have done it a certain way. Why change it until I have to? And I understand that as a good businessman, that's what you're going to do. But that's why I think entrepreneurship needs to be pushed in Shreveport, because I think entrepreneurship means that that's somebody new coming out of the ground, coming out the dirt. And they're saying, I see an opportunity. I'm going to jump on that. And you're going to have another person say, I see an opportunity. I'm going to jump on that. And the more that you have these entrepreneurs coming out of Allendale, Lakeside, Queensboro, Cooper Road, Cedar Grove, Highland, all these places around Shreveport, right? You got them coming out the ground and trying to come with ideas to capitalize on the history and the musical talent of Shreveport. I think you're going to see a little bit more of that coming out, and a little bit more of ideas come to fruition, because we have a lot of history. You went over a lot of that history, right? I'm definitely going to go back to my mom, and I'm going to ask her about Club 66.
Go to your mommy. You got to know about Club 66. And sometimes I was in college and I mentioned my aunt's name with around some older guys, and they would give me a ride home. They started laughing. Yeah, I knew her, man. I knew her. Yeah.
So I am so happy, Mr. James. You kept telling me not to call you Mr. Thomas. James, I'm so happy to have you here today and to talk about the history of Allendale. We're coming up short on time, but this is not the last time we're going to talk to you.
I appreciate it. It's cathartic for me. I say it's good for me.
There you go. There you go. Hey, keep throwing those big words. We got dictionaries all around us.
No, man. I need it. I need it. I came home I had some severe issues when I came to Shreveport. 7 years, I'm okay. I couldn't have gone anywhere else in the world to get healed. I mean, it's toxic. We got our toxicity. We do. But man, it's some healing and some love and a whole lot of stuff here too. And I'm a product of that.
There you go. There you go. Well, we're so happy to talk to you. John, you got your last thoughts you want to throw out there?
Hey, let's start some music festivals in Shreveport to bring younger crowds in, to spread one of the best things about Shreveport is the music scene. And I also want to remind everybody to spread the joy of these podcasts. If you like it, hit like on it and share it with your friends on your social media. The comments I've been seeing have been fantastic. I'm looking forward to seeing what people have to say about James, and I think we ought to have you back on with your wife when she's back home from Nigeria.
Have you seen any of her? Have you seen any of her pictures? Anything she sent you yet?
Yeah, it's amazing to see. I can't believe she undertook that journey. So
she's had all that education, and she's going back home. You know,
Yeah. I can't wait to get her on the podcast. And my friend Hugh, who everyone else knows as Poetic X, that he'd be a great on this spot too. But close us out, Brian.
Yeah, we're gonna go ahead and throw that out the ethos. We're gonna get Poetic X on here, so
yeah,
we're gonna throw that out there.
Get the whole family.
There you go. Get the whole family on here. Make it a family affair.
It's a colorful bunch.
There you go. So thank you everybody for listening to Allendale Strong Podcast. If you want to join Allendale Strong meetings every second Thursday of the month, please hit us up on Facebook. Please donate. You can go donate on Facebook also. And if you want to catch the podcast on any of your favorite podcast channels like Apple or iHeart, anywhere, we're available there. Just look for us, Buzz Sprouts, Allendale Strong. All right. And also like and subscribe to our podcast on YouTube at RDB_on YouTube. Thank you for listening, and God bless.